Alright, what is up, everybody? This is the first episode of the Slowburn Show. Um, Before we get started, I'm gonna say this is probably gonna be a super unprofessional podcast to be the first one. I do have a co-host that will usually be with me, but he just couldn't make it due to time. Uh, I do have a couple topics that we're gonna go over, a betting segment, and we're just gonna try and have some fun, maybe talk some shit as well. Also, if you're watching this instead of listening, if you're wondering why I'm in a hoodie and a beanie, it is super cold outside today, this morning, and I'm waiting on my house to warm up. So, I'm gonna get into these MMA topics. We only have MMA topics for the first episode because my co-host Kobe was gonna come up with the non-MMA ones, but he's not here, so we'll just do MMA stuff today, and that's fine with me. First thing we should go over, which we're going to get to later as well, is the rebooking of this weekend's main event with Nassourdine Imavov. Hopefully I say that right. He was supposed to go against Kelvin Gastelum, but Kelvin had to withdraw because of a mouth injury. And I haven't really seen a picture of it. Maybe I'll figure out how to edit it, the picture of what happened to his mouth into the video, and we'll show what happened. But he had to withdraw, and Sean Strickland stepped in on 4 days' notice for this fight. I'm not sure exactly if I could look real quick what Nassourdine and Sean Strickland are ranked. I should have this prepared, but again, like I said, this is going to be super unprofessional, but we'll get through it. It's got to get done. The one-man show's got to get this done. At middleweight, Sean Strickland is number 7 ranked, and Nassourdine Imavov is number 12. So, I mean, I think it could play into Sean Strickland's favor by coming off short notice because this man trains and spars almost every single day. But ever since the Jared Cannonier fight, he said he's been taking a little bit of time off and just kind of goofing around, riding motorcycles and doing, I don't know, who knows what. Not fighting, though, which is, I think, could play a favor into him going into this fight on 4 days' notice. The second topic I'm going to talk about is Francis Ngannou became a free agent over this past week, and who knows where he's going to go. I've heard PFL talk. I've also, a couple guys in my group chat want him to go to one so the dude can get all sauced up and we see sauced up Francis, which would be a super scary sight. The man already has the hardest recorded punch in the world. Imagine if you put him on some sauce. I don't think he will go to PFL. I don't think the PFL has the money that Francis is wanting. Francis might also, he could go box Tyson Fury now if he wanted to and make a big old bag there. More UFC or more money than he would have ever made in the UFC, probably in like 3 or 4 fights, maybe even more than that. The third and final topic is the Dana White altercation that happened on New Year's Eve. I don't even know where to start on this, to be real. All I can say is that it's definitely not right to hit a woman. I don't even care if she, like, balls her fist up and punches you. Dana White, he used to box. He should have just put that high guard up and slipped that slap and got out the way. People would have stepped in. But no, dude had no self-control after getting slapped as well. And I think it's very ill timing that the Power Slap League is happening around the time that all this happened. So maybe he got that technique from one of his slap fighters because the way he hit her pretty damn hard. It wasn't a softball slap. He slapped the shit out of her. And I do not condone hitting a woman at all. I've never hit a woman in my life. There has been times where a woman has hit me, and I can understand where your first reaction or thought might be to hit the person back, whoever hit you, but you have to have some type of self control. I understand alcohol is involved, but you got to know that you can't put your hands on a woman. Like I said, when a woman's tried to hit me before, I put my high guard up. They can't hit me, dude. What are they gonna do? They can't knock you out. You get this. Maybe if they have a really good liver shot, they can put you out, but you got to know how to just take your shot and walk away and let somebody else step in for you. I'm not saying another person step in and fight the woman, but another person step in and break it up. Well, those topics ran through pretty quick. So now we're going to get to the betting segment. And I do have Kobe's picks because Kobe is going to be. I'm basically going to be doing a one-on-one betting competition, gambling competition with virtual money with Kobe over the next year to see who can make the most money or not have the most money. And we'll do something for the loser and something for. I'm sorry, I keep messing with this beanie because it looks so not straight. We're going to do a betting segment to where throughout the year we go against each other, and whoever has the least amount of money will figure out what the loser has to do. Maybe y'all can comment and tell me what we should do. I have his picks. I have my picks. We're only going to be doing the main card, essentially. We'll do picks for every fight on the main card. The rules are, if you bet on the favorite, say the favorite is a minus 150, you have to risk the line number to win your $100. So say if the guy is a minus 150, you have to risk $150 to win $100 profit. And that's for the favorite. If you bet on the underdog, say he's a plus 150 instead of a minus 150, you only bet the base amount of $100 to win the line number of 150. If that makes sense. So it's better to bet on the underdog, but it's more risky. Because if you have someone that's a minus 600 favorite, you have to risk $600 just to win 100. But if someone's a plus 600 favorite or plus 600 underdog, you only have to bet $100 to win your 600. Along with that, we're allowed to pick one lock, and that lock doesn't have to be on the main card. That could be somebody on the prelims, and it doesn't matter what that line number is. You're allowed to risk up to $500 on that person. And another thing with the lock, you don't have to pick a lock each week. This is just if you feel like someone is gonna win for sure. You can risk more than the $100 and or up to the. You know what I'm trying to say. You can bet more than just the base amount of $100 in this competition. You can bet up to $500. So, saying all that, let's get into our picks. Starting with the first fight on the main card, Umar Nurmagomedov versus Raoni Barcelos. I hope I said his first name. Raoni Barcelos. I do have notes on each fight. I'm going to start with I'll explain how each fight I think is going to go down, the line numbers, and then I'll say my pick, and then Kobe's pick, and then for the next fight I'll say Kobe's picks first. We'll flip-flop. For the first fight, Nurmagomedov, everybody knows he's related to Habich, and he has decent wrestling, but he likes to let his hands go, and he's a southpaw, which I kind of admire. I don't know if Khabib was a southpaw or not. I'm pretty sure he was an orthodox fighter. But Nurmagomedov, he throws great kicks, especially off his lead leg. He likes to throw a lead question mark kick that's really sneaky. It seems like he has I've noticed in my notes I put that it seems like he has a little bit of trouble when he fights someone decent. I mean, when I say a little bit of trouble, he's undefeated. No one's ever beat him. But the little bit of trouble, he's just not getting the submissions or the TKOs. He'll result back to Khabib's father's plan, where they're just trying to take you down and essentially just have great top pressure. Barcelos is a coming in at a plus 575 underdog. He's an orthodox fighter, and I think that's gonna play into Nurmagomedov's favor being the southpaw in this situation, because the distance between their heads are going to be a little bit further apart than if they were in the same stance, and that's going to give Nurmagomedov the chance to not really get knocked out or get hit with a really clean shot. But Barcelos, he can strike. He's great at distance management. If he knows how to, if he can throw some feints and get on the inside, potentially get on the outside of that lead leg and land a big right hand, he could do some big damage, and maybe put Nurmagomedov out for the first time ever. But like I said, I think what's going to be the biggest factor in this is that Nurmagomedov is going to be a southpaw, and he's going to be able to keep a bigger distance than if they were in the same stance. And I think the longer the fight goes, the better it works for Umar. I should have said the lines at first. Nurmagomedov is a minus 1,200, which is crazy. Again, Barcelos, I already said he was a plus 575 underdog. But that's a crazy differential in the lines. But I understand why. Umar's never been defeated. He's been looking great as of late. No one's really showed any type of big resilience. And like I was saying earlier, he's been in a little trouble sometimes. But when I say a little, it's like the guy got out from underneath him, and they got back to standing. He was forced to strike for a little bit longer. My pick for the competition with Kobe, the Slowburn Showdown, I'm picking Nurmagomedov. I'm going to risk the 1,200 for the 100, which I'm kind of scared to say that, but that's what I'm picking. I'm pretty sure Kobe picked the same. Yes, Kobe picked the same. So we're both going to risk right off the back. First big fight for the competition this year. We're both going to risk $1,200 for 100. Now let's move on to the next one. Ketlen Viera versus Raquel Pennington. Both orthodox fighters. I'll start with the favorite first. Ketlen Viera is the favorite, coming in at minus 120, and Pennington is plus 100. So it's almost a pick'em fight, but Viera is the slight favorite. What I've noticed about Viera is that she's very powerful. She's almost got Amanda Nunes-like power, but she's afraid to let her hands go. She won't. She'll break the distance, but only for like one or two punches. And this is no knock on women's fighting or anything, but women in general are not going to have exceptional knockout power, and unless you're like a Chris Cyborg or Amanda Nunes. But I think Viera is one of those few women that has big knockout power, but she almost refuses to throw her punches in combos. And I think that's going to be a little bit of an issue in this fight, because Pennington is not afraid to break the distance at all. She'll get in your face and throw punches and bunches until you back up against the cage, and Pennington likes to clinch you up against the cage. And I've never seen Viera do much clinch work up against the cage, but I've noticed that Pennington is a way more active fighter than Viera, and that's who I'm picking. I'm picking Pennington. I'm gonna risk the simple risk $100 to win $100 on Pennington. Kobe is picking Viera. So he's going to risk $120 to win $100. That fight didn't take too long to get through. The one thing I would worry about is if Viera has worked on throwing more punches and combos. If she can do that, she might find herself knocking out Pennington. Moving on to the main event. Punahele Soriano versus Roman Kopylov. Both southpaw guys, which is going to be really interesting. Being in the same stance means both of them are going to be able to land their punches. I think Kopylov's the more active guy, but I think Soriano's he has the power advantage. So it's going to be a matter of, can Kopylov make it out of the first round, or can Soriano put a really big beating on him in the first round to where Kopylov can't recover, or just knock him out in general in the first round? Soriano's only losses are to top-level guys, plus they were decisions. Soriano's never been finished. He likes the pressure. He has power. But he can get tunnel vision when throwing his strikes and get taken down. And Kopylov is Russian, but he doesn't have Russian-like wrestling. He has decent wrestling. He's more of a defensive wrestling guy. He knows how to keep it on the feet to where he can keep landing his strikes and keep doing what he's doing. Kopylov likes to use his kicks more than his punches as well, so he knows how to keep the distance. The only issue that I see with that, they're not at opposite stances. I'm sure that's why Kopylov is so good at throwing his kicks. He's a southpaw guy. He probably goes against a lot of orthodox dudes and is able to land his kicks almost any time he wants. But going against a guy who's like Soriano, who's fighting with 3 of his teammates, I think maybe even more than that on this card, he's going to be going right after Kopylov as soon as the ref says fight. And if Kopylov doesn't set up one of his kicks with a punch and Soriano gets to land a big left hand, he could put Kopylov out for the fight. And Kopylov's never been knocked out, so I'm going to take the big risk and say that is what's going to happen, that Kopylov's going to get knocked out for the first time in his career, and I think it's going to be in the first round. I think it's going to be over quick. I noticed also one time in one of Kopylov's fights that, and I think it was his last fight maybe, he came out slow. He ended up winning, but he came out not throwing a whole lot of output, not really throwing anything at all. He was kind of letting the dude walk him down, take all the space away from him. But he ended up starting to let his strikes go, his hands in his feet, and I don't think he got the finish, but he definitely put a beating on the dude in rounds 2 and 3. My pick for this one, I know I said I was going to go back and forth. I might as well just say my pick first. I'm going to pick Soriano at minus 155. So that means I'll risk $155 to win $100. Kobe is picking. He's picking Kopylov, so he's going against me. He's going to risk the base $100 to win $125. I did put in the extra notes that I think the fight is going to play out on the feet. Soriano has been working on his wrestling. I saw a big improvement from, I think, 2 fights ago to his last fight. I can't remember the names of who he fought, but there was a big improvement from his wrestling. I think, oh yeah, I remember Soriano fought Nicholas Maximov, and I think he got taken down 12 times in 15 minutes. He lost split decision, and then he came out and fought this like South African dude. I can't even pronounce his name. It started with an L, and he had really good defensive wrestling. The guy kept trying to take him down. I think he got Soriano down one time, and it was because he got tunnel vision throwing his strikes, and the guy just shot down for a double when he knew Soriano was about to explode on like 2 or 3 punches and got him down. But Soriano got up and ended up knocking out the guy right at the beginning of the second round. But like I said, I'm picking Soriano at minus 155. Kobe's picking Kopylov at plus 125. Moving on to the co-main event, Dan Ige versus Damon Jackson. Dan Ige is coming in at minus 130. Damon Jackson is plus 105. I think this is going to be a really good fight. Ige has been kind of on a skid here lately. He's lost 3 fights in a row. Never been finished, though. All 3 fights were decisions. The dude's not a quitter. He's just getting outskilled, essentially. He's an orthodox fighter. He can wrestle good. Dan Ige has power. But if the striking isn't going his way for Dan Ige, he tends to force takedowns. He'll try to force a takedown. That's not really warranted. He just needs to get more comfortable on the feet, I think. If he's more comfortable on the feet, things would go better for him. And he has power. It's not like he couldn't do great things on the feet. He can. But he just needs to be a little bit more comfortable. Damon Jackson is kind of on a tear here lately. Kind of the opposite. This is one of the fights where I think they're around the same skill level, but it's odd where they're at in their careers right now, why they made this fight. Damon Jackson's won 4 in a row, while Ige has lost 3. But Ige is the favorite. Ige is a minus 130 compared to Jackson at plus 105. Jackson's a switch stance fighter. He has great grappling. He can wrestle. If he gets on top of Ige, he's a damn monster. He damn well could finish Ige. And I've noticed that Ige can get taken down, but he gets up. Every time Ige gets taken down, he gets up. Or at least he's not getting, outclassed. He's keeping his guard and not getting finished. The one thing I've noticed with Ige is that he carries his power through the fight, but he gets tired, or the pace starts to get to him towards the end of the fight. And Jackson's great at keeping a pace. He can keep a pace on you and mix everything up. He's not, even though I think he's been knocked out. I think Jackson's been knocked out maybe 3 times in his career, KO/TKO, and they were all, I think they were all in the first round. They were really quick. But even after those knockouts, he's not afraid to break the distance and get right in the guy's face and land his strikes or get to the clinch and get the takedown and get on top. I did put in the extra notes that Ige, coming off of these 3 losses and fighting with multiple teammates on the card, could add to the motivation to finally get back on the winning track. But with all that being said, I'm going to take Damon Jackson at plus 105, risking the $100 to win $105. Kobe is going to take Kobe is going to go against me and take Dan Ige, so he's going to risk the $130 to win $100. Moving on to the main event, which we talked a little bit about earlier. Short notice for Strickland. Was originally scheduled to be Gastelum, but Gastelum had to withdraw from mouth injury. And I talked earlier about how Strickland, it seems like he hasn't been it doesn't seem like he's been in the gym much. I said munch, like Ice Spice. It seems like he hasn't been in the gym much, and I think that could play into his favor because that dude's in the gym all the time, and I think taking a little bit of break could help maybe heal some injuries that he's been dealing with secretly, or just get his head right from not getting punched in the head so much every single day. And I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on this fight because we already talked about it. I think even with the short notice, Strickland's gonna come out there and do what he does, put a pace on Nassourdine. Not saying that he's gonna finish Nassourdine, but I think even with it, Strickland trains all the time. Like, he's in shape. And I just before I hopped on this pod, I looked at the weigh-ins, and Nassourdine weighed in. It's because it's short notice, they did light heavyweight, so they went up 20 pounds around there, and Strickland weighed in at 204, and Nassourdine weighed in at 194, 10 pounds lower than Strickland. And I'm sure that had a little bit to do with Imavov thinking it was going to be a middleweight fight. so he was planning to make 186. Strickland probably walks around 210, if I'm guessing. So he probably only had to cut 6 pounds to make 205 and weighed in at 204. Easy for him. They're both orthodox fighters, so to me, they're both going to be able to land their strikes. We know how Strickland fights. Imavov, we don't know too much about him. I mean, he's fought, I think he's had maybe 5 or 6 fights in the UFC. And anytime he fights a high-level dude, they seem to give him a little bit of problems, even if he wins. Like his last fight with Buckley, I remember it being a big ordeal. There was a lot of drama behind that fight. I don't remember exactly why, but there would be times that Imavov was struggling against him. Imavov was the better fighter than Buckley. I'm not saying that it was a robbery by any means, or like Imavov beat him, but he did struggle against Buckley, and Strickland is a way better fighter than Buckley. I think we can all agree on that, and we're just going to have to see how Imavov handles someone being a highly ranked middleweight, even though they're fighting at 205. I'm going to pick Strickland, even on short notice, at plus 105. I like Strickland at an underdog price anytime I see that. So I'm going to risk the $100 to win 105. Kobe is going to pick Strickland as well. He's going to risk the $100 to win 105. Both of us do not have a lock this week. I think that the matchmaking on this card was made really well. A lot of these fights are coin flips. Even the Nurmagomedov Barcelos fight, with Barcelos being a plus 575, if I'm a betting man, I wouldn't mind sprinkling a little bit on Barcelos by KO/decision. That wouldn't be a bad little sprinkle, just a little sprinkle. Now we're gonna get to a lot of people, not a lot. I won't say I have like a big fan base, but I've had a couple people ask me when I'm gonna start doing these Swink Slips again, and the answer is right now. We're gonna start doing, instead, I used to do 10 of them, but because I'm doing this betting competition with Kobe, I'm only going to do 5 of my favorite bets. And, yeah, that's essentially it. First, we'll start with the underdog of the night. This is a guy that's on the prelims. He's fighting, this guy's name is Jimmy Flick. He's coming in at plus 260, and he's fighting a guy named Charles Johnson. Charles Johnson, he fought in the LFA for a little bit, and he was a big name coming out of the LFA. I think he won the LFA title and defended it twice, and it was a big kind of drama ordeal for Johnson, because after he defended the LFA title, he wanted to get in the UFC, but the UFC was like, they told him, like, you need to win one more, but Charles obviously, when you win the LFA title, it's pretty legit. It's not a Bellator or a PFL title, but the LFA professional world title is, it holds some credit to it. It holds some value to it. And the fact that he won it and defended it, and I'm pretty sure the defense, he like knocked the guy out in the 5th round. That could have been the second time he defended it to actually get the Dana White contract, but they let him, after defending it twice, they let him finally come in the UFC. But on his UFC debut, he had to fight Muhammad Makayev. That was the first guy they gave him, and England, where the motherfucker is from. Lately he's had everything against him. I think he won his first fight, or his second fight after that, by split decision. I could be wrong. I could have been a unanimous, but a great fight. I can't remember the dude's name, but the guy he's fighting now, and Jimmy Flick, talking a little bit about Jimmy Flick. Jimmy Flick, his last fight out, he had an amazing flying triangle against Cody Durden. I could be wrong on that. That was the last fight, but I'm pretty sure that was his last fight in the UFC. And it became a big news story that Jimmy Flick retired at such a young age after the winning with the flying triangle. I can't remember exactly what he said. I don't want to lie, but I think he said that it wasn't that he lived his dream out already in the UFC, and by getting in the UFC and winning a fight in the UFC, like that was pretty much his dream, and he wanted to do other stuff in life. But out of nowhere, he's coming back and he's fighting Charles Johnson, and they have him at a big underdog price. He's not bad, and I'm hoping that I'm not wrong on this. He's gonna be my underdog of the night for sure, but I'm hoping that he's still been training. Even if he's not in the UFC, I hope he's still been doing martial arts because, that voice cracked. I hope he's still been doing martial arts because he's really good. He's a really good martial artist, and I hated seeing him retire early, and it's at my weight class. It's at 125. But I'm gonna risk the $100 to win 260 on Jimmy Flick. Now we'll move to the prop of the night. A guy we were talking about earlier, Punahele, Soriano. Him by first round KO is at plus 300. So you risk $100, you win $300 profit. Like I was saying earlier, Kopylov starts a little slow, and I think that's going to be a big factor in this with Soriano. He's not afraid to get right after it. As soon as the ref says fight, he's ready to put his hands on you. And I think that's exactly what he's going to do. Them both being southpaw, the distance between their heads is going to be a little bit closer than usual compared to what Kopylov is used to finding an orthodox fighter. And I think we're going to see Soriano be the first person to knock out Kopylov, and I think he's going to do it quick. I think it's going to be over before it starts. My next bet on the Swink Slips is a three-fighter parlay. We're going to do they're all guys on the main card. Nurmagomedov at minus 1,200, Soriano, and Strickland. Now I see that I'm kind of noticing now looking at that three-fighter parlay, that we're putting a little bit of what a betting man would say, too many eggs in one basket with Soriano. I think we maybe could have picked somebody else with Soriano, depending on if Kopylov can keep the distance and land his strikes and get it into the later rounds and get Soriano tired. That could ruin this whole parlay, but I'm going to stick with it. Nurmagomedov, Soriano, and Strickland at plus 265, risking the $100 to win 265. And now we'll get to my best bet of the night in my decision, or in my opinion. It's going to be a decision. Nurmagomedov, we're putting a lot of eggs in one basket on two fights. The Nurmagomedov fight and the Soriano fight. Nurmagomedov by decision is minus 200. So if you risk $200 to win 100, this would be a bet for a lot of the sharks in the gambling world. A lot of sharks are probably going to love this price for Nurmagomedov by decision. That's a really good thing, or what the Nurmagomedovs are good at. They're good at getting decisions. Decision wins. So we're going to ride it. My fifth slip of the night will usually be a lock. But like I said earlier, a lot of these fights on these cards are coin flips. I think the matchmaking was made really good. I don't think anybody's a lock on this card. So if you do decide to bet on this card, hopefully you've done some research on them and you feel confident in your pick. But instead of a lock of the night, we're going to do a UFC future. So if you go on DraftKings, that's where all these odds are coming from. You can go to UFC and then go to futures, and you can make a bet to who you think in every weight class. You can pick what weight class you want to do, and you can pick who's going to be the champion on the last day, December 31st of 2023. So you could go to heavyweight and say John Jones is going to be champion on the last day of the year 2023. And I think John Jones was like a plus 275 to be heavyweight champion. But we're going to go kind of big here with the UFC future. We're going to go to 145, 145 pound weight class. And the champ right now is Alexander Volkanovski. And a little bit of the stipulation they put on these bets, they said, and I kind of hate this, they said the current champ has to defend that title, and then the person that you bet on has to win and be the champ at the end of the year. So Volkanovski would have to defend his title, his 145-pound title, this year. And who I think is going to be champ of the 145-pound division at the last day of this year is Henry Cejudo at plus 4,500 or no, plus 4,500. So if you risk $100 and Henry Cejudo is champ on the last day of this year of the 145-pound division, you'll win 4,500 bucks. And that would be a great way to end the year, would it not? In this year. So that's what we're going to do. Henry Cejudo, C4 is going to happen by the end of this year, and Henry Cejudo is going to walk into 2024 the 145-pound champ. You heard it here first. Now, I don't really think I have anything else. That's pretty much it. I don't even know what else I would say. I wish I had more non-MMA topics. I don't really got anything. I think us talking about MMA, the whole podcast for the first one, was good enough. I think we'll end it there. Slowburn Show doesn't really have an intro or an outro, so I'm going to just see you guys later. I appreciate everybody that either listen or watch this podcast. See ya.